Good evening. This will be a microscopic examination of 4 slides. It's part of the slide Energized ongoing experiment. We left the experiment for 2 days. Didn't do much because I had other priorities, but now we continue. So this will be, a reference, just to check what's up with the containers. I know that we have many skeptics among the audience that watching, hundreds of videos, throughout a year and a half, and where they clearly see that, neurons are multiplying in all sorts of ways in the laboratory and then even stay certainly a couple of days in the mixture without dying. Still, הם עדיין סקפטיים, הם עדיין לא... עוד באירופה הם היו סקפטיים, והם עדיין סקפטיים. So maybe now, no, it's not going to change anything, but we need it as a reference because we want to continue, of course, with the research. So, by the way, I unpicked some of, the boxes from the storage, and I found additional, first of all, my second Linux computer, which is nice, even though they are both in the end of their days, because it's like nukes, and they don't build to last from experience. But anyway, maybe I'll use it, and also other transformers. Also, my older Arduino kit, which is extremely simple, but still might be of some help. I'm not intended to, to so quickly actually connect, a full-blown Arduino circuit with, with programming and everything to a Nero device, but, to a Nero mixture with, with the structure, with the symbolic language of the Neros, etc. We're not there yet, but we might be closer than, some people might imagine. Who knows, maybe breaking the RSA is not a pipe dream. Maybe, I would say, yes, I'm not going to do tomorrow, but I'll say, without vanity, or I'll say that, given everything that we've seen until now, yes, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but we might actually be closer than what you might imagine, whoever you are, to actually do exactly that. It means create, for the first time, some kind of a computation device that is like a hybrid or a mix between a mixture with the Neros and of course the accompanying symbolic construction, and a standard, I would say, human computer, which means electric computer based on Arduino chipset and CPU and all the accompanying the standard electronic PGF. So after we do that, I think that after we demonstrate this kind of a thing, with actual interaction and things that are with logic that happens in both sides and kind of interact, and combined to some kind of higher logic, I would say that after this is achieved, breaking the RSA is probably just it's like 99.99% towards overcoming the RSA thingy, and then the internet. And then, כמו שנאמר, וישעיהו, ולא ידעו עוד מלחמה, ויחטטו חרבותיהם לעתים ומזמורותיהם וחניתותיהם למזמרות, וגר זר עם כבש וגדי ושור ומרי יחדיו, whatever. No more internet security, no more, borders, encryptions. A wonderful world. But indeed, we are not there yet. So we also found in a very simple creative SBS, 2.1, subwoofer and 2 speakers for computer speakers, computer kit. It unfortunately it did not work. I didn't manage to fix it, so it's garbage. Which is a shame, but it's not. It costs something like 220 shekels, so it's not like high-end speaker set, but it's done. The good news that it did not die in vain. I salvaged from these things 3 magnets, and this, as you know, that magnets are of extreme help, are very handy in modifying advanced electrolysis chambers. So it's great. When we will certainly use it, later along the airway. I had much stronger and bigger magnets, but they were stolen for me, unfortunately. But this will be of usage certainly. Again, I'll remind you, we mean to show multiplying and growing of the neos in an electrolysis chamber and in crucible. We already did it as part of this experiment. That's why now we take reference of what we have. And we've seen more success with the crucible approach than with electrolysis. This could mean all sorts of things. I'll not jump to conclusions to say that, categorically the crucible method is better. No, because we have a lot of experience with both, and there are all sorts of variations and parameters, and also it's quite a bit of time since I've done such things, like maybe 4 or 5 months. So I return to it now, and along the way, of course, I recall all sorts of technical stuff, little stuff, things regarding the symbolic language. Again, we managed to have great success with the electrolysis approach as well, not just with the crucible, and both are kind of like a world in its complete, it's like a whole world with all sorts of stuff, many variations, many different parameters. It's not like, and again, there are so many issues involved. Both, it's not like that, you can just do with one way. No, both are needed, and probably there are many other ways. Although it should be said that I have no idea how to demonstrate. We also want to demonstrate along the way energy transfer, DC over air circle, as we've managed to do in the past, but do it again. I will say that I have no kind of like I don't know if an easy way to. I can't think of a way to show energy transfer with heat, with crucible. I don't know how to do it. If you have any idea, please enlighten me. But I do know how to do it with electricity, and that's I've done it more than once, of course, in the video. That's by preparation of the material, then separated to 2 containers, and then conduct electrolysis, but kind of like a magic electrolysis, where one pole is inside one container and the other pole is inside the other container, and the 2 containers are separated, by air, and they both sit on, on a plastic or a glass table, and you see the bubbles, and the bubbles, demonstrate that the separation of H2O to H2O2 actually occurs, which means that it's a hot circle without any doubt. So we still, in any way, we will still require the electrolysis method, if only for this purpose, but we have other purposes as well, of course. What might be in handy is maybe use some of the LED lights that I have here as part of this kit, maybe together with resistors and breadboard, in order to perhaps get a classical visualization sign of that it's a hot circle, just by light bulb that is on. I managed to already burn one of the 4 or 5 LEDs that I have, by playing with the playing with the breadboard. But okay, we still have the rest. Hopefully I'll not burn the other ones. So we might actually connect, like as part of the direct, as serial circle, the breadboard with resistors and LEDs, and maybe even we have lots of other pitch of cassettes, like buzzers, I don't know, all sort of stuff. I don't even remember. It's a very basic kit. No, whatever. Anyway, it might help us, for visualization purposes. Now, I should remind you of another objective that we have, which is maybe energize the neurons while they are under the microscope. This is not a trivial issue, but again, the way to do it probably is either using electrolysis in the Petri dish, or alternatively, use electrolysis with energy transfer, which means that, again, one pole is in the Petri dish under the microscope and another pole is in another container. It's going to be not easy, but it's another objective slide. That's why we call it slide energized. That's a main kind of new objective that of this series of experiments. Also, another objective is to show you and to show myself, because I've never actually watched it, how the neurons kill or fight and kill train bacteria under the microscope. Either in kind of like, when they are energized, if we manage to energize it under the microscope, and then it will be kind of like a very fancy fight, very kind of, a high action fight, because they will probably be kind of like ferocious because of the energy. And it will be great, like, Gangnam Style breaking the internet video. But less realistic to how it's done in the body, because in the body they don't ever get electricity. And a more realistic or true to life way, but less impressive, is to just put a mixture with the train bacteria on a slide. Also put neo juice with it. Of course, in both ways we need to use the language of the neos to tell them to kill the train bacteria. We need like an accompanying symbolic construction, because otherwise they can maybe don't do nothing with it, or maybe try to make it bigger or replicate it, all sort of stuff. When they're outside the body, the default is not necessarily to kill train bacteria. They have all sorts of agenda. They might think, I don't know what they want to do. So we need to tell them, kill the train bacteria. It should be part of the construction. So, but again, we don't need to energize them. We can just put it on a slide, and then wait maybe a week or two. They can survive up to 2 weeks on a standard slide, and take microscopic examination every 2 or 3 days. It's not going to be visually impressive as if they are energized, but it's still going to be very interesting. And we've done such thing in the past and managed to see amazing results, not with killing of life forms, but mostly with creation of life forms, or creation of all sort of like sculptures based on limbs of life forms. It's also incredibly interesting. But now we'll do it specifically with the command of killing life forms, and hopefully with the train bacteria, which everybody likes so much, or just like a channel favorite among the subscriber of the channel. But for that to happen, we need actually a culture with the train bacteria. And this, as I'll remind you, brought us to another kind of like objective, which might not be important specifically for that series of experiments. We might postpone it to later, but we need to create a culture of the train bacteria. We've already started a basic thing using the basic approach. This is one of the symbols of the train bacteria. You see this kind of. I'm not sure that you watch. This is like a crude symbol of the train bacteria. But it was only energized for a short amount of time using electrolysis, and then kept offline for the last couple of days. Still, there might already it might had already the time and like even the small amount of energy, because the neurons are capacitors, so they store some of the energy. You know it from experience. So we might actually be able to watch, if we are lucky, a train bacteria right now already being produced. again, when we doing the last examination from these two containers, maybe 2 days ago or 3 days ago, after the energizing, we didn't see a trend bacteria at all, which makes sense because it didn't have time and energy, probably enough to create trend bacteria. But maybe after 2 days or 3 days, I mean, using the energy that was already supplied by the initial electrolysis, we might actually be able to see the trend bacteria already created under the microscope. I mean, I will say maybe like I'll give it like 20% chance, 10% chance for that we will actually be able to watch it. Anyway, if not, what we will do is, we'll create like bigger, more elaborate symbols of the trend bacteria, and also we will use the intermittent crucible approach, which was with specific kind of mixture. There is like a special mixture that is known to me from experience to be very, very to be a great like mixture. I mean, for the creation of trend bacteria in crucibles. So we will prepare that mixture, and this will be, and then we will put it on the crucible intermittently, which means that you need to let it rest, and like heat it, let it rest, heat it, let it rest, and then let it rest for like 6 or 7 or 8 hours, and after 8 hours, you probably see amazing culture, which is full of trend bacteria and maybe even gigantic ones like that you could see by the naked eye, like the Cthulhu version. And again, I should remind you that, so it's an objective. So this is imperative for this. This is not optional. It's imperative for this series because we need a trend bacteria, and the only way to have it is using a culture. But what I remind you that we mentioned that we, as an objective in the general sense, maybe not for now, it will be very interesting. It probably requires a set of experiment by its own because we have all sorts of nuances here that requires all sorts of it probably requires a focused work. Maybe do it as a separate like a new kind of experiment with separate containers. Not part of this line, and the objective is to formulate in a strict way something that I'm not sure I know how to do now, but I'm pretty confident that b'siyata d'ishmaya, b'ezrat Hashem, that it's something that I will within my capability. Just that I'm not certain that I already know how to do it, but I think I'm close to this point, which is what point exactly is to formulate what exactly is the difference between the symbology that is used to create the trend bacteria ex nihilo and then grow it and multiply it, and the symbology that is used to grow and multiply existing trend bacteria and do nothing if there is no existing trend bacteria within the container. Again, I'm not sure I know what's the difference in symbology, but I think I have like a very good, יש לי כיוונים טובים לזה, and this would be actually a way to, both create, the culture if needed, like in the case of this for this experiment, but also it will be a way to create a culture of the trend bacteria only if already it exists inside a sample, which means that it will be like a laboratory test for the existence of a trend bacteria within a sample, which might be extremely important because I don't know if humans know how to do it right now. I don't know. Again, if you take, if you randomly take like a pee or blood or stool sample from the body of a patient and put it under a microscope, you shouldn't expect to actually see like samples of a trend bacteria. If you do, it means that the person is head to toe, is Bob Sponge SquarePants with the trend bacteria. Because it means that it's huge and it's like all over the place, like in trillions. But generally you don't want to wait until this is like, the state of the patient before you want to identify the disease. So again, you can do it in a behavioral way, like, Rifwam of Delet, like what's the Dr. House MD is doing, like, to say it's a pedophile scam, he's Israeli, he has neurological damage, he's aggressive, he likes prostitutes to pee on his face. we don't need a laboratory. This person is infected with strain of bacteria. So this is one way to do it. But if you want to do it like, without, the רפואה מבדלת or מבחנת or whatever, without meeting the patient at all, or if you don't trust the patient to tell the truth because you know that, as House MD always says that they always lie, you need the proper way to create a culture, which is how you do with stool samples, like to take Salmonella or E. coli or Streptococcus or whatever. The only difference is that the strain bacteria does not grow in standard cultures over agar, in standardized petri dishes, in like crematoriums. No, not crematoriums, like how do you call these ovens? Like incubators. So you need another way to create strain bacteria from a sample that only if it contains strain bacteria, in order to have this ability to identify if a sample contains or does not contain the strain bacteria. Of course, again, I should remind you, even if you have this procedure, it probably is not enough by itself, because this probably requires the T or the yellow neos in order for that to actually produce results. And something that only I have, nobody else have, and nobody else is going to have it, because I don't give it for free, and it's not allowed to, it's illegal to sell things while you are a prisoner in Auschwitz. So, but anyway, this use, even if it's not practical or of practical usage now, it might be, practical in the future, and maybe in other planets, maybe, in Venus, maybe in places that people think that life is more important than ego, hopefully. So, let's start with the actual examinations. Maybe we'll do it in a separate video, just to keep it logical, separation between the introduction and the actual microscopic examination. We have 4 slides, one from each of these, the crucible mixture with the strain bacteria symbology, one from the electrolysis chamber from the water parts, and one from the salt. And I forgot another. Okay, so this reminds me of another thing that I mentioned, as a possible, important goal for, maybe for that experiment, maybe for the next one, which is to check the salt deposit that sunk in the electrolysis chamber, to see what they are made of, and also to try to actually conduct electrolysis with new mixture that is almost all salt. Either when, the poles are stuck in the salt, and there is almost all salt, or the same, but with a small layer of liquid above the salt. And this can be helpful for all sorts of reasons that were discussed in the salt-related video.